Hi everyone, so today's video is basically going to be a brow tutorial, so if you're interested, then stay tuned. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I normally suggest is that you usually have some type of brow kit. If you don't have a brow kit, that's fine. One thing I would tell you that you should definitely use then is the Maybelline Definer Brow. It has a comb on one end, and then it has your product on the other end, so it just looks like that. And I would also tell you that you're going to need a pretty good spoolie. So something like that. And I usually use a brow gel. So this is what I'm going to be using. It's the Anastasia brow gel just to set it. Even though it's like a waxy product and it's supposed to already set itself, I just like to have some kind of product to help set my, just to set the gel with. I also use stencils. These stencils I have are by Anastasia as well. The stencil I'm going to be using is the medium arch. I'm going to be talking more about the Anastasia kit. You just basically line up. And if this is your first time doing this, you're probably going to be better off using a stencil. I just like using a stencil because I feel that it pretty much just keeps everything in line. So you just want to hold your stencil. And since I'm using the Maybelline Definer Brow, and you just go and you fill in. Now I fill in doing little, basically light strokes. And once you get your stencil, you really don't want to move it too much, but because that tail is not looking right to me, that's why I moved it. Okay, so you just want to then just fill in. You don't want to fill in too dark, but you just want to fill it in basically. And if it's too dark, it will definitely let you know because you'll look crazy for the rest of the day. And then you just take your stencil off. And then you can see here, I just have like that little space that I couldn't get. And then you just want to fill that in. And then there it looks off. So you just fill that in. I hope the camera is picking it up well enough so you can see. And then here, it looks like I didn't go all the way in a little bit. So just take little light strokes. And then that leaves that part a little sparse. Okay, and then I just always do my brows like this. Just see the line that they make. I feel if they make the line, now I've already done this side over here, but I feel if they pretty much make the line, then they pretty much look good. I don't know, that's just my little pet peeve. And then you just want to go back and just color in any spots that you feel you left sparse. Now looking at these brows, you can tell this one over here, the one I just done, is way darker. So that's where your spoolie comes in. And you just want to basically take your spoolie and brush the product out. And you just, like I said, you want to brush it out until you basically get it to your normal color of your hair. Now that's the only thing with the Definer Brow, is I found out that when I use this one, I normally go, it's the way that it is, it normally makes me go a little heavy-handed. And so usually that brow ends up dark when I just use that. If I use a gel or a powder, the powder that I've been using is the Smashbox in Sable, which is this color right here, is the one that I have normally been using. It's the perfect color for my brows. That's the one I would normally use. And if you were just doing that, what I would suggest is you just take this end, the spoolie. I have a double-ended spoolie. Let's zoom out. I have a double-ended brush. So on this side is the brush, and on this side is the spoolie. And what I would do with this side is I would just, after I brush my brows out, I would use this side here, and then I would go into the Sable powder and apply that. And then when I use the Definer Brow for, usually is to go back and just fill in any sparse spaces. And that works perfectly for me. And then of course I want to set it with some brow gel. So again, I'm using the Anastasia brow gel. And this also will comb it out a little bit too. So just be aware of that as well. This also just thins out your brows a little bit too. So this will take away some of that color. So there you have it. these are my brows. This is how I do them. This one over here, I actually use the powder and so forth with, and the definer brow to fill in. And then this one over here, I just use basically the definer brow. But that's basically what it looks like in a nutshell. That's the easiest way I found for me to do my brows. So, like I said, I'm going to be talking to you about all the products I use. So, if you're interested, then stay tuned. Okay, so as you can see, my brows are done now, and I'm basically just going to be talking to you about some different things that you can go out and purchase if you're interested in doing your brows. Now, like I said before, just remember that your brows are sisters, they're not twins. I think that's the biggest thing. I used to think my brows had to be 100% perfect, and if they weren't perfect, then I needed someone to tell me why they weren't perfect. And I would come home and I would stare at them in the salon, and I'd have the mirror in front of me like this, and I'd be looking and checking and just trying to make sure that the stylist done them exactly even. It's not going to happen. Something is always going to be a little bit off, but they do have a pretty good idea of what looks even for you. And saying that, one of the brow kits that I picked up was the Anastasia brow kit off of HSN. This is what it looks like. It comes in this little cute packaging, I think. And then in the inside of it, you have your brush, and at the end of the bottom of this is a spoolie. You have your brow gel, you have your tweezers, you have your stencils, which are really, really important, as you saw me use them in the tutorial. And then you also have your powder to use. You want a good pair of tweezers like this. You want to make sure that the little feet on them are exactly even. You don't want one hanging over one more than the other. You want to make sure that they're perfectly together. They close perfectly together. Also, you're going to want a nice spoolie. Then, of course, you need a brow gel. This is just a clear brow gel. Thing is the powder. Choosing your powder, I found out, is basically the hardest thing you can do. This color looks good on me, but I wasn't able to use the dark brown in this. The dark brown was just coming out really too dark on my brows. They kind of look like those clown brows, you know, you have, that they're really, really dark, and they're actually too dark to match your hair color. But I really had a hard time finding something that works. And with this, the lighter color, do you see that? It kind of looks like an ash almost. So I wasn't really too happy with that. The rest of the kit I absolutely loved. And then, of course, you have your stencils. So you have your medium arch, which is the one I used in the tutorial. You have your full arch, which I haven't even plucked out because I know I'm never going to be able to get into that one. Your high arch, which is the one I think everyone wishes that they had. Then you have your slim arch, which is the one I feel that I definitely didn't want, but this is more almost me. When I used to tell the lady at the salon, always give me a slim arch. I really wanted my lashes to look really small and really slim. And I'm sorry, my brows. And then you have your petite arch, and this is the one that I actually am, because it's not really that much of an arch. It's just a little petite arch, and that's what I really am. But I like to, as you saw me using the tutorial, the medium arch, because I feel like I have better control of where to fill in the product at, and I can actually see, and that way I feel like it's not too dark. So I like using a stencil that's a little bit bigger than what I'm supposed to use. Of course, I use it in conjunction with the Maybelline definer brow, and I usually, like you saw me doing the video, this is where I go back usually and fill in just some areas that I feel may be a little sparse. I just really, really love using this. The color is medium. It's kind of like almost like that ash color that I just used, but it's medium brown is the color that I use in this, and I love this. And of course, I've been using the new color that I got by Smashbox in the Master Palette, which I've told you about, is this sable down here. And again, it kind of looks a little ashy, but it's kind of like a reddish brown from what I'm getting from it. And I really, really like using this. As you see on this brow, this is the brow that I used that on. I just really like the way it looks. I think it looks really, really natural. And then when you see both of my brows together, you can actually tell they look pretty good. The colors didn't vary too much from the Maybelline Definer Brow and from the color in the palette and from the sable. So it's pretty much the same thing. Excuse me, I think they're pretty much the same things on that aspect. So there you have it. That's what I use to fill in my brows. Some people like that really, really precise cut and arch and like it to look really clean, and so they just use like concealer to outline the eye once they get it done. That's fine if that's the way you like to do yours. I just really like to do mine like that because I think it's really fast and really simple for me, and I think it's just the easiest way for me to go. And then also another thing that I like to do after I do my brows, and I didn't do this today, is I usually like to put a highlight of some sort like right underneath the brow. And the reason why I feel that that is important is because it just highlights what you've already done to your brow. So let me just pick a highlight. I'm going to use like a matte peach color. So I'm just going to put some of that color. It's like a matte peach. You might not even be able to see it. But it's just like a really light color. And I just like to put that underneath the arch of the brow. And see, this is also too where if you were going to use concealer, this is where you would use it at. So just right underneath the arch of the brow. And to me, that just makes it look a little bit more defined. Like I said, you don't necessarily need to do it, you know, to use the concealer, but if you want to use something in its place, then you could use that. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully the video was informative and it helped you out, and maybe it'll give you some ideas on how to shape your brows differently. Sigma does have a brow kit at $69. I have a 10% off code for it if you're interested in that kit, and the products are amazing. You can check out